So for the background, I'm gonna start by ink blending um, a layer. I'm gonna kind of do like an ombre-ish look. I'm gonna start with Altenews Purple Wine, and I'm just gonna blend this across the top. This does not have to be perfect because we will be cutting this out with a background dye. I'm gonna start with this, and then I think I'll go to Glacier Iris. And the best way to ink blend is just to do your layer and slightly overlap the previous layer, and then it helps blend them together. And then, because you don't want a dark line, you go back with your first color and then just blend these two places together. All right. So that's a very colorful panel, but like I said, we're going to die cut this. So I'm going to use my lattice die cut, my lattice die, and just die cut this. So now this is cut out. I have trimmed this to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, just because I like a tiny little border around my panel. So I have this metal brush, and I'm going to just go through and pop these out, trying to keep them kind of in place. Not that it matters too much. So now I have this, which could be the background. We could just do it like that. But I'm going to actually use this kind of as almost like a stencil. And I'm going to just put this on here, and I'm going to tape it down just to keep it in place. And what I do with my tape is I either put it on here or I put it on my pants or something, just to make sure it's not going to be too sticky, because I do want to use this for the next card if I can. So I'm just going to line this up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but why not? And I'm just going to glue this right onto my surface. And I'm going to just grab some foam dots, and I'm going to sporadically put them where I want, in between the cutout pieces, or I guess where the cutouts are. And then I'll use my picker tool. And these don't have to be exactly where they were before, but you want to try to line them up. The closer you have them, the more perfect you have them, the easier it will be to get this grid off of it when we are ready. Oh, I'm having trouble. It doesn't want to stick. I'm just trying to line them up kind of based on color. I guess I need my tweezers. So now I added just a few more. I only want them on the one side of my card, but you can put them wherever you want. And then the tricky part is taking this off without having those come up. It's not too tricky. You just have to be gentle. It takes a little time, but it's not too bad, especially if you get them on nice and straight to begin with. And then you have a little bit of a dimensional border almost. And then what we can do is just add on our flowers and our leaves, however we see fit. Once I have my idea down, I will grab the leaves from underneath, and I don't glue the tips, I just glue the bases and the stem, because if the leaves want to curl up, it's just a little bit more dimension, and I kind of like that look. So that's about all the glue I use. And then kind of know where I want it, so now it's easy to just put it back in place. I think before I put these on, I'm gonna just throw this back in place and just put on a couple extra along this side here. Just because the leaves are going to be covering up some of them, and I just want a couple more. So you can play with this as you're going. Put them on in phases if you want, just so that you know what it's going to look like. I need a turquoise. And one like this. So here you have the option of either using foam tape or glue. Because there are so many layers right in the center, I think I'm just going to use the glue today. I use my tweezers sometimes just to hold it in place. Now I'm going to save these for another project because I don't get rid of anything. And I'm going to save this for another project. And if you actually don't want to use this, you could also use this as a stencil. So if you wanted a stencil, you would just attach this, you would tape it down or use your sticky mat. You'd still need to put tape along the edges. And then you could just ink blend right over the top of that. Like when I had taped this down, if I had ruined the cardstock with the tape, I could still use it as a stencil. I wouldn't necessarily use it as a stencil with the colors that are already on it because it's kind of pretty. But I mean, if you wanted to, you could use this side and then ink blend and then still have this. So there's so many different ways that you can use one project. Now I'm going to take my card base and I'm going to give it a little border. I usually like to leave this white, but I think today I'm going to do some Glacier Iris. And I'm just going to ink blend around the edges, keeping it folded because I don't want it on the back side. So I did add a few more just to fill in some places, which is why you don't get rid of these to begin with. You can just keep adding until you like the way that it looks. And I also added on a sentiment. This one I just glued down because there's enough dimension. This is from Waffle Flower. And the other thing I was thinking of is when you're doing this, if you don't want to pop them up on the foam squares, you can still just use this on your, of course, before you put all this down, you can use this, I'll just show you, on another piece of cardstock. And instead of popping them up on foam squares, you could just add your glue right through here and then put these in so that they're on a flatter, you know, so that they're just like that. They don't need to be popped up. I just thought popping them up would be kind of fun. So there are a couple different ways that you can do that. So for the next card, I am going to use the cutout from the die, and I have it on the back side because the other side is colored from the first card. So I'm going to use the back side, and I'm just going to ink blend right through that using this as a stencil. And you could do the whole card, or you could do parts of the card base. I think what I'm going to do is half of it. And then I'm going to take a peek, see if I like with it half of it. Maybe I'll just do this part darker. See, this is what I was saying on the first side. That's why I used it on the back, because I didn't want to ruin the paper. The cardstock is coming up. So yeah, there you go. So now I can use this as one. And I still have this. I'll tape this down again. Just trying to show you so many different ways that you can use the same die cut background in so many different ways. You can just go in and put some glue where you want it. And then fill it in so that it's not so dimensional. Trying to match up the colors that are on the grid, but it's not necessary. So this is just a little bit easier than with the foam tape. Not that either one are hard, but this one is it's just easier to pop them in like that. It depends on the look you're going for. Ah, now see, I ripped it. I didn't want to do that. It's not too bad though. So then again, gently kind of push these down while you're pulling up. So there's another background. You can add something to. And then you could also use it, I'm going to use it one more time on the back. Maybe I'll use this. I'll use the same one. Put it back in place. So I could have left that background as is, but I'm going to use some of this shimmer relief paste. This is the brushed pyrite, which is beautiful. It's kind of like a mixture of gold and silver. It's really pretty. So you can just grab some of this and put this on wherever you want it. You can do the whole thing. You can do bits and pieces. You can make it heavier in the corner and gradual, just like we did with the ink. This one I don't really want it to be completely solid. Now with this, you have to remember it dries super fast, so you need to clean your tools as soon as you're done using them. If I was using a regular stencil, I would be cleaning that immediately, but since this is on cardstock, it doesn't really need to be cleaned. Pull these aside. And there's another little bit of a textured background. And of course, some of the color came through, but I think I'm okay with that. So there's one more idea for using the same, we've used the same cardstock. We haven't really changed. We've used this for everything so far. So we're really stretching our supplies today. This is kind of a silly one. When I use a regular stencil, I always wash my stencil onto another piece of cardstock. I didn't know if it would work on the cardstock stencil, but I just hold it on there and I wipe it with a baby wipe. And then I have a very muted background, which is also kind of fun. It's definitely not a perfect one, but this is sometimes my favorite kind of background. So that's another one. And of course, it works better with the regular stencil, but you get the idea. Because sometimes you just like that little subtle background. And then the last one we will do is attach this, because I think we have used it enough. And now because I washed it with that, you can see some of the sparkle right around the edges, which also makes that pretty. I could also add this on here and have the sparkle background, but I'm going to use that separately. So here I'm just going to add, I might need to let it dry, but we'll see. I'm just going to add this right along the edges and add it to my card base. You could use either side of this too. I guess if you wanted to add this as your background on the green side, on the lime side with the sparkles here, the shimmery leaf showing through, you could do that. But I'm going to go ahead and glue on this side and then add it to my cardstock. And I'm going to put on a block just to make sure that it stays in place while it dries. So now we ended up with 5 different kinds of backgrounds that you can use with the same one background die, and not wasting anything. So now we will put these together and I will make some cards. I'm not going to show you the details of the cards, but I'll show you the cards when they're finished. So I have made all of my backgrounds into cards. The first one is just with the grid, and I attached a sunflower, Miss You die from Altenew. This one I did cover with glossy accents just to make it shiny and stand out. And then It's Your Day, Celebrate. I think this is the one we were working on. This one, I ended up adding some stamps for Happy Birthday with the same color inks that I had used, and I made it into a quick shaker card. Kind of fun for, I don't know, a little girl. And then I made this one. There was a little too much glitter for my liking, so I just added this, and I think it kind of goes. I kind of like this one. So I have that. I added some texture with an embossing folder and just colored these with some inks. And then this one is the background where I washed my stencil, so you just see a little tiny bit of the gold in the background. So those are the cards that I ended up with, all of them using really one stencil, one background die to do all 5 cards. So I think it would be fun too if you just cut one of these out of a black cardstock and just did a black and white theme card. I think that would be really pretty. Or a glitter paper, or there's so many options, so many possibilities. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I really hope to see you again. Please please do me a favor and like and subscribe to my page so that I can build the confidence to keep going. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great day.